I'm Megan Slone Blackburn from Georgetown College. This is my research proposal on multisensory strategies in phonemic awareness. My research question is, how does multisensory strategies affect phonemic awareness and phonic achievement in a kindergarten student with ADHD? As a kindergarten teacher, I find the most important areas of literacy is phonemic awareness. In order for a student to comprehend what they read, I believe they must be able to confidently decode words and read with fluency. Pikulski and Shard 2000 support this. They quoted, "If a reader has not developed phonemic awareness, the process of decoding words drains attention, and insufficient attention is available for constructing the meaning of text." I want students to love reading. Furthermore, I want students to understand what it is they have read. In my theoretical framework, I chose to focus on John Dewey and constructivism. Constructivism is appropriate in kindergarten, as 5- and 6-year-olds are naturally curious and trying to make sense of the world. With guidance and encouragement, their love of learning can blossom. In a constructivist classroom, learners are given the freedom to think, to question, to reflect, and to interact with ideas, objects, and others. In other words, to construct meaning. Constructivism, mixed methods research, and multisensory strategies go hand in hand because differentiated curriculum is qualitatively different from the basic curriculum, and it results from the appropriate modification of content, process, environment, and product. Look at 3 different categories or 3 different themes. Theme 1, I chose to look at students with ADHD. Theme 2, research-based strategies for teaching phonemic awareness. And theme 3, explicit and systematic instruction to teaching phonics. In category 1, students with ADHD, literacy is especially difficult for ADHD students, specifically in reading comprehension and phonics skills. When students who have ADHD fail to acquire adequate literacy skills, it may lead to them experiencing unsatisfactory academic outcomes. Hitchcock et al. 2004, Camille 2003. It is also believed that students who fail to learn to read by the 1st grade tend to fail farther and farther behind their peers. The most common limitations of cognitive abilities of children with ADHD involves a dysfunction in the awareness of the phonological structure of words and oral language. Looking at theme 2, research-based strategies for teaching phonemic awareness. Incorporating multisensory strategies into small groups instruction, it can be defined as an effective way to teach phonics to students with ADHD. In my case study, I will be in a very small group with one-on-one. The term small group is defined as a small group up to 4 students working with a teacher on a certain learning objective. Small group instruction gives teachers flexibility to give more attention to individual students, to check for understanding, and enhance lessons taught in larger classroom settings. Phonic instruction in a small group setting is especially effective for students with ADHD. One technique suggested by Hines 2009 is to color code the rhyme in words to help visually highlight it. Hines studied 1st grade students with reading difficulties using color coding system. One example of this may be words with the rhyme op family words. They were highlighted in red. However, only the rhyme was highlighted, not the beginning onset. Looking at theme 3, explicit and systematic instruction to teaching phonics. For phonics instruction, one letter sounds combination is taught, then another. Systematic is a step-by-step process. Teacher instructs, student and teacher practice the skill together, student practices independently. Where the skill is taught, student and teacher practice the skill together, and then the student must practice on their own. Systematic phonic instruction is a way of teaching reading that stresses the acquisitions of letter-sound correspondence and their use to read and spell words. Multisensory instruction combines listening, speaking, reading, and tactile or kinesthetic activity. Phonics instruction lends itself to multisensory teaching techniques because these techniques can be used to focus children's attention on the sequence of letters in printed words. Research of more than 2 decades has affirmed the importance of phonological awareness and its relation to acquiring reading skills. According to the report of the National Reading Panel 2000, correlation studies have identified phonemic awareness and letter knowledge as the 2 best school entry predictors of how well children will learn to read during their first 2 years in school. When looking at methodology and research design, the approach I chose to take was a mixed methods approach. Mixed methods is incorporating qualitative data with quantitative data. It will allow for the understanding of the impact the interventions and lessons are having on the participants, as well as determine the hindrances or barriers that may be interfering with the participants and their progress. Mertler, 2012, quotes and states, "Most educators, when investigating their own classroom practices, see the benefit in collecting some data that are qualitative and some data that are quantitative. When we're looking at qualitative data, we're looking at student perceptions, and when looking at quantitative data, we're looking at numbers or student scores on assessments." The researcher must provide a justification for the use of this approach. I find this method will be beneficial in proving that phonemic awareness can be improved through the multisensory strategies in phonics. Salihai, 2015, quotes, "It is about how different methods can complement each other while they are used in one study." Methodology, looking at participants and setting. The setting of my research proposal will be at May Valley Elementary School. We are in Floyd County in the city of Martin. This will take place in a kindergarten classroom. My case study will consist of one male student who has been diagnosed with ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Looking at Table 1, it is an overview of the participant. This child is 6 years, 3 months old. He is white. He has been diagnosed with ADHD, and he is male. Methodology, data collection. When thinking about collecting data, I have decided that data will be collected within my kindergarten classroom. Collection for my case study. This case study will consist of one student and one teacher. The case study will consist of one student and one teacher. Work samples will be collected on a weekly basis. Quantitative analysis will be using the DIBBLES data system. And qualitative analysis will be done on observations, interviews, student feedback during multisensory lessons, and different attitude surveys. The following are the references I've used to conduct my research in order to form my research question, including literature reviews and looking into methodology and theoretical frameworks. Thank you for viewing my research proposal.